Am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my sister's wedding after finding out only our side of the family were having to pay to attend? My younger sister, Katie, 28 female, and her partner, Chris, 29 male, are getting married in April in Dubai. She's always wanted an extravagant wedding and is going all out on this. So the wedding is happening over 4 days. There's 70 guests, but they want us, me, my husband, and my parents to stay in the same hotel with them along with her bridesmaids, which I am maid of honor, and groomsmen. The hotel is pretty luxe, so with flights, it's costing us just over £2,900 each. A little pricey per person? That's a lot. Chris's family are also staying in the hotel, which includes his parents, 2 brothers, and his nephew. They are well off. I don't know exactly how much they earned combined, but I know Katie is on $88K and she's the lower earner. But about 6 months ago, Chris and Katie came to us and asked to borrow $17,000 more. They stressed it would be a loan, paid over time, and they said the venue had increased the price. Dubai law was different, blah, blah, blah. They paid this money or they lost the lot. We believed them and offered to loan $7,000 and my parents the other $10K. So, long story short, I have since found out through someone else that the $17,000 wasn't for the venue. It was for Chris's family to fly over there. Hang on, the family that's well off? They saw how much it was going to be, didn't want to pay, and refused to go. I asked Katie, and she confirmed. So my first question was, if they were paying for his parents, why not pay for ours? I would never expect them to pay for me, even if we couldn't afford it. I'd have wished them well and stayed at home. And her answer was, because they can afford it. Hold on. But if they can afford it, then why are they refusing to pay? And why are the people who can't afford it being told to pay? Bombastic side eye. She got very defensive and said this was the fairest way she could think of doing it. It's hard enough planning a wedding, etc. But when I asked if you genuinely thought this was the fairest way to do it, why did you lie about what the $17K was for, period, clock it, and said it was a venue issue? She couldn't answer. That is a very good point. No, absolutely not. She wasn't forthcoming with the reason because she knew it wasn't fair. Why lie? Then why not just say the reason? Because it's a shitty reason, that's why. My parents are aware and are very disappointed they lied, but have said they're still attending. But I have backed out. To me, it feels like my parents are being taken advantage of. And if they couldn't afford to pay for both our and Chris's parents and his brothers and nephew, then they shouldn't have just paid for the 4 parents or no one at all. And they especially shouldn't have lied about it. Katie and Chris keep calling and asking me to attend, saying I'm making them feel bad and ruining their day. Bestie, they did that all on their own. But the whole thing just feels icky to me. So, like, no apology for lying? I'm genuinely an open book, so be brutal. Am I being an a-hole here? Should I just suck it up and go? My only thing is, like, you did already give them money. But that was for their parents. I'm so shocked right now. Like, I've heard of and personally experienced family members and people close to others that are invited to weddings that can't afford to go. And in that case, people help them. I have never heard of brides and grooms paying for other people who can afford it to go. And furthermore, I've never heard of people taking money from the family members who can't afford to go and using it to pay for the family members who can afford to go. I'm so confused. I would be so upset. Okay, OP clarified a couple of things. The repayment, my husband's brother is a solicitor and he kindly agreed to draw up a contract and a repayment plan for both myself and my parents so the money will be paid off within 12 months of the wedding. If they don't stick to this, I have access to a free solicitor. Haha. I love getting a lawyer involved. It's so fun. It's such a flex, you know? Can confirm, if you are privileged enough to afford a lawyer and you are a people pleaser and you want someone to do your dirty work for you, a lawyer is a really great solution to a lot of things. So that's why I have the papers for the worst case scenario. 2, Asking for the 7K back. I might be a soft touch, but asking for this back feels like a step too far. Like, I'm mad as hell, but not enough to actively try to ruin their wedding a few weeks before, which it feels like right now at least, is what they would be doing. But hey, give me a few more days to stew. It doesn't surprise me that people are asking her to get the money back. I do like the payment plan thing. Drop them that little slip of paper after the wedding is over. Give them a little whiplash. Thanks again for the feedback. Just another quick FYI, a few people have asked about Chris's family or seem to have the impression they're well off. Well, you said that. I'm obviously not privy to their financial situation, but what the limited amount I do know from what Katie has said is Chris and family grew up very poor. Before all this, I always thought Chris was a lovely guy, but I had caught him in the odd but harmless white lie. Things like where he went to school, the type of house he grew up in, etc. I get the impression he was embarrassed or resentful of his upbringing, given their lack of money, and this is how he now values his own self-worth, by how much money he has. Okay, so I'm assuming that you meant Chris and Katie are well off, not Chris's family. Okay. Maybe that was the confusion. Maybe they're not well off. Even if the family is not well off, I feel like it's really up to the bride and groom to make sure that everybody can afford to come. Otherwise, they really got to rethink things. You don't need to go to Dubai to have a really fabulous wedding. You just don't. And furthermore, I don't like how they lied about the reason they wanted the money. My guess is when his family said they couldn't go, he panicked and worried people who would ask why they weren't there, and he would either have to say they couldn't afford it or he couldn't afford to pay for them. Okay, so but the solution is asking people who can't afford to pay for other people? No. Like, listen, if you're in a situation like that, we gotta rethink things. Like, let's not get married in Dubai. And look, his past trauma and experience is not for me to judge, but if that were the case, it just makes me more mad that they both didn't plan ahead and talk to friends and family about what they could afford before booking Dubai. If it was such a deal breaker for his family to be there, they should have factored in the cost of paying for all parents to attend instead of thrusting a $3,000 per person bill at them and expecting them to rock up. Ooh, yeah, this is no bueno. This is really bad. Okay, listen, if you're planning a wedding, you need to be kind of realistic about things, okay? There are many cases in which destination weddings end up being cheaper. That was part of the reason why we did it. We were going around looking at venues in Toronto and surrounding areas, which also would have been a destination wedding because people still have to take time off work, they have to book hotels, etc. And the costs were so insane that it was like, why don't people and we take that money and do something fabulous and go somewhere where everybody wants to go and make a trip out of it instead of just going to like nowhere, Ontario, or like spending $60,000 on a wedding venue in Toronto. It's crazy. The wedding industry in Toronto is absolutely crazy. So it is possible to do a destination wedding and actually save money. I really just genuinely think that if you want to plan a wedding, you want, dream situation, you don't have to put everyone in debt to get there. There's plenty of other options. We got to be realistic, okay? Let's not be burdens on everyone around us because we want to have a fabulous wedding. And furthermore, if you want to have a fabulous wedding and you're coming to the conclusion that a lot of people can't come because of the price, you have to be okay with that. I would actually argue that like if people so close to you, like your parents and your family couldn't afford to go, like it's different if it's just like outliers, friends, extended family that couldn't go. Your own parents not being able to afford to go is a totally different story and should be the reason you do it close to home. Let's see what everybody else had to say. Not the a-hole, yet one of the many reasons I dislike destination weddings. They're the penultimate egocentric events. Hey man, you're entitled to your opinion. I just want you to know that in my case, personally, I found that it was actually cheaper to do a destination wedding than it was to do a wedding somewhat locally. We have very limited options. In Ontario. I totally get this. We had a destination wedding in Italy as well, TBH. However, before we booked it, we did rough price checks in terms of how much it would cost everyone before we booked. So that's super important as well. It actually ended up being cheaper than a lot of places in the UK, but also made a list of who and what we could afford to pay for and who our non-negotiables were in terms of if there were certain people who couldn't make it or afford it, then we would just book somewhere in the UK. It worked out in the end. We had 15 people and we paid for everyone's hotel room, and the flights were about £240 each. So we counted that as everyone's gift to us. And we figured after travel, gifts, etc., probably wasn't far off from what people would pay to attend a local wedding. See, this is the thing, right? The wedding industry is insane. It's actually insane, and it's kind of disheartening, honestly. But I didn't expect Katie to do the same, as I knew she was having 70 people, and at the end of the day, it's her wedding. If it was important to have families there, then why are they doing this extravagant wedding in 4 days in Dubai of all places? Why not somewhere closer and less expensive for travel? It sounds like you're all in the UK, so there's lots of great countries nearby that would have been beautiful venues. Yeah, if you're all in the UK, there's so many beautiful places in Europe that are, you know, really cheap flights. I have a friend in Dubai, and there's a reason why I haven't visited her. And it's like, holy the cost of flights to somewhere like that is crazy. Wait a second. Not only are they not paying for your parents, they're having your parents pay for his. That's like a double whammy. I don't know if you should go or not. Your choice will have a long lasting impact on your relationship with your sister. Only you can decide if that is worth salvaging. OP responded, I don't want to lose my sister over this, and I don't want to be that person who says that's the principle of the situation. But honestly, it really is. Lying and manipulating you and your parents out of $17,000 is not a small thing. It's not normal, and it's going to get worse. How are you going to let her continue to use and lie to you? OP said, this is so far out of left field for her. I've never known her to do anything like this before. It's still sinking in. Yeah, so I honestly don't know what she should do. In cases like this, like obviously with family, it's so hard to like overtly say that you're not going, especially if this is so out of character for her. It's different if they were like estranged and obviously she did something really terrible, but it's not up to us random people to decide whether she should go or not. It's up to her whether she wants to salvage the relationship and go. Because it will be, I don't know, part of me thinks it's like, well, what if you just say you're not going and then they're forced to change the wedding venue and location? So we do have an update.